Hi, folks. I can see that you just chatted to say that you couldn't hear me. Sorry. Yep. You got me now? Okay, good. Hey, Damon. Dr. Bryant, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Let's do this.
Great.
Can you see me?
Yep. Got you perfect. We have a couple folks on. Maybe just give it a minute and then I can kind of go over the rules of engagement and we can get started.
Great.
I'm not caffeinated enough this morning, Damon. I'm gonna need about 3 or 4 more of these. Everybody, while you're here, this is a plug. La Colombe coffee out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's the best. All right, so I'll kind of get started in terms of how we proceed. So welcome everybody once again to Webinar Wednesday for the LightPay Coin community. My name is Patrick. We're on with Damon Bryant, co-founder and CEO of LightPay Coin. If you haven't joined us before, welcome and thanks for joining. If you have, this will probably be familiar to you, but I'll just kind of go over it real quick. So this is an opportunity for the LPC community to kind of get an update straight from the horse's mouth, or straight from the IO psychologist's mouth, as it were, to hear about what's going on in the world of LPC, and to ask questions, get those questions answered in a live environment and things like that. Typically, what we do is we have folks chat questions, either using the Q&A feature, or you can direct those questions to Larry. You should see instructions about how to do that in the chat module. And yeah, let's get started.
Thank you. Give me a quick second. Let me get this organized on the topics that we'll be discussing today. A busy week, very busy week. A lot of things have happened, and I want to be able to just walk through each one. I think, well, I got some comments that the video last week was long, and I'll try to keep it as short as possible. But we're moving really fast. We're making a lot of progress. It's a good thing. But then I want to be able to make sure that we cover everything that's happening in the space. Well, at least enough for you to be informed and not search for information, because it's all in one place. So today I'll try to keep it as short as possible. At the same time, try to cover in detail the things that we're doing. So let me share my screen and we can go from there. I am going to move over to the Excel and share. Okay, so I would assume everybody can see my Excel spreadsheet. I'm looking at the tab of topics. This week, LPC stats. We're going to discuss Crypto Bridge security. Still in Crypto Bridge and security, because we're having issues both with Crypto Bridge as an decentralized exchange and just security in general. When I talk about security, this is both security around your own machine, security around yourself, not necessarily being socially engineered to get up your LPC. We'll also talk about a few exchanges and platforms to which we've been added and are actually moving forward, or looking to get listed, are currently listed, and actually able to move forward on as well. And then we're going to talk about some partner opportunities, a great opportunity coming up now for not only members in the LPC community, but for other people that you might know in your network who may help to contribute to the LPC project and to some of the partner projects that we have going on. So with that said, let's move into the LPC stats, and then we can go from there. I'm clicking on the tab here. At a very high level, we've had some movement over this past week. We increased by about a little over, when you're saying we were last week around 6 million in market cap. This week we're almost at 9 million, almost an increase of about 30%. Price. The price of LPC is $7.59. Obviously, it fluctuates up and down, but as of this morning, $7.52. We have a volume of 365,000 with a market cap of almost 9 million. We're moving fast. We're increasing in our market cap. Our volume pretty much staying the same, which I think is a good thing. At the same time, our Masternode network is growing. A return on investment for your Masternode is 42 days at 879% in the ROI, about 20,000 in terms of the reward paid out. Average payout time, about 13 hours, 13 and a half hours. But if you're getting your nodes started, expect 24 to 36 hours before you get that first reward. Obviously, more and more nodes are being added every day to secure the network, which is a great thing, both in regular wallets, regular nodes or confirmation nodes, and also in the master nodes for the private and instant transactions. In terms of the active master nodes, we have 810. Initial expectations around the security of the network. We had an initial expectation of if we hit 1,000 nodes by December, that would be great in terms of the security of the network, being able to send instant and private transactions. That was just on the master node side, but it's the case. It looks like we'll hit 1,000 before the end of the month because we're increasing at a rate of around 200 master nodes every week. If we go back and we look at last week's performance, we're roughly at 668 last week. This week, we're at 810. So it looks as if our project is getting a lot of attention. There are individuals who were originally staking and communicating on the Discord channel who now have enough to acquire a masternode. There are new buyers coming in as well, and that's a good thing. Another thing that really is one of my targets is being able to have a masternode value network of over 70%. Since we started talking about how important securing the network is and determining how valuable a project is, look at it. One of the indicators that's been put out more and more as a key indicator of value of a project is to look at the number of coins that are locked up in masternodes. And right now we're at over 69%. Last week, we were at 68.69. So we've increased almost a full percentage point, not quite, but we're moving in the right direction, reaching that target of 70%. And I think in the top 10, we're the only, when you look at Masternode Online in terms of the projects and the Masternode lockup rate of the top 10 projects, we are in we have the highest Masternode lockup rates, one of the highest Masternode lockup rates in all the Masternodes online, which is a good goal, which is a good place to be, and a great goal. If we can get over that 70% hump, I think I'll begin to stop emphasizing the Masternode lockup rate, but just it's from this point forward moving. It's implied in any other conversation moving forward that the Masternode network value, we should attempt to keep it above that 70%. So we're almost there. We crossed that point a few times over the week, this past week, but we couldn't maintain either because more coins were being issued or I doubt we have a lot of individuals selling off, but we're at 69%. But it looks as if it's mostly due to the amount of coins constantly being issued and changing that percentage up or down. So Masternode worth, right now we're over 1.1 BTC. That's good in the sense that the masternodes are becoming more and more valuable relative to Bitcoin. So now we're 1.16 Bitcoin for a masternode. And you think about what's happened over this past week. I know a lot of folks were disappointed generally about the market in terms of the ETF being approved by the SEC. They've decided, I think it's the VanEck ETF, it was delayed. Investors, not the LPC investors. We were rooting for Bitcoin to be approved for the ETF, but it wasn't. It was delayed. Not necessarily saying that it was not approved, such as the ETF by the Winklevoss brothers, but this one was delayed. I think all of the things are in place now for an ETF to be approved, but it looks as if the SEC is taking their time. And I think there's going to be a huge swing in the market from going more bearish to flat to more bullish once that ETF is approved. But I think it's only a matter of time now. It's not a matter of all the things in place at the sponsoring agency's level. I think all of the custody is in place, the security is in place. And I even think with the commissioner one of the commissioners in her dissenting statement over the last ETF decision was saying that not that SEC was overstepping their bounds and attempting to approve a ETF based on the underlying market, but the comparisons were made to the gold and other commodities about how they don't necessarily look at the underlying market of commodities or looking at gold, but yet it should be how that is traded at the ETF level. But it's the case. I think with her making that statement, it made it pretty clear that the other commissioners should take that into consideration in approving the next ETF proposal that's currently on the table. But I think it's going to be a great thing once it happens, because you're going to see a huge influx of capital coming to the market as a consequence. And we're depending on the all rising tide lifts all ships phenomenon. But right now the market is down, and we've been maintaining a very positive price action in terms of both our individual price, our market cap at 9 million, roughly at 9 million at this point. So I think we're in a very good position with a good project, a good team, and a great community. Now let's break down some of the statistics as we do often, looking at the value of the Masternode network. It's over 6 million at this point, with 69.38% locked up in masternodes. 69% of the coins locked up in masternodes with a value of $6 million. The entire market cap, I think last week, if we go back and we click and we look at the market cap last week, it was roughly $6.1 million. So now the value of our masternode network itself, just the masternodes, is worth more than our entire market cap, almost the entire market cap from last week. And that definitely shows that we're making some progress, even in spite of the downturn in the market. And when you look at the masternode at a more macro level, look at the value of the masternodes, all of the masternodes. When you look at the market cap of masternodes online, it's about $2.5 billion as compared to around 230 billion for the entire cryptocurrency market. So we represent right now a little over 1%, but I think as more and more masternode projects come online in terms of their use cases and the recognition by other investors in the space that masternodes provide a great investment opportunity. I think the masternodes in general will grow, and we'll see that masternode market cap grow relative to the general cryptocurrency market. I'm thinking by the end of this year, maybe 2 to 3%, in essence, doubling our market cap relative to the general market. But if we go higher, that'll be great. But that's more at a macro level. But back at the micro level, looking at LPC specifically, 6 million in terms of the market cap for the 6 million for the values of the masternodes. Roughly $2 million in terms of the confirmation nodes and wallets, and less than 5% for the trading bots. And the trading bot volume and the human volume, human traders. So I think this is a good ratio that we have. Roughly 4% of the value or price action happening in terms of the daily volume relative to the overall market cap. So, or 4 to 5%, but that's somewhere similar to looking at the volume of Dash relative to its market cap. Very low percentage relative to its overall market cap. So I think we're seeing a fundamental shift in volume relative to our market cap, and that's to be expected considering that our overall market cap is growing and our volume is somewhat staying the same. But I would like for that to increase, but we'll address that issue as we begin to move into more exchanges and get more liquidity and more opportunities for price discovery. And now looking at the graphs from this week, we see that nice smooth monotonically increasing action, where now we're at a little over 800 masternodes. Right now 810 at this point, and that number roughly 140, 150 to 200 per week. We're increasing, so I expect us to exceed or meet that target of 1,000 masternodes by December. That was our goal, and we've totally shot that out of the water. So we're having to make adjustments internally in terms of how the team operates, how we're beginning to get on exchanges, how we are building relationships, how we're going to begin to distribute the point of sale devices and the ATM machines. So we're moving aggressively, much faster than what we thought. So as a consequence, we're having to take some actions now, and we need not only the team members to be more involved, but also the community as well. And we'll present some or talk about some of the things that we're doing to kind of accelerate the way in which we get on our exchanges, we get more liquidity, we're able to finance different aspects of LPC moving forward. So I'll pause right there before we move into the next topic of Crypto Bridge and security to see if there are any questions around the statistics, price action, masternodes, the volume that we have, and market cap.
So this is a somewhat related question from the community, Damon. The question is, how many shared masternode services are there that have LPC, that feature LPC? How many LPC are on each? Do you have those stats?
The statistics on each of the masternode services, I know we're on lots of services at this point. I don't know the exact number, but you can take a look on all of the announcements. We made several announcements about every time that there's a masternode service that's being provided, we list it in the announcements. I can begin to give details around all of the masternode services and how many, or attempt to interact with the vendors themselves to understand how many masternodes are actually on shared masternode services versus individual investors or corporate investors. But that's not a statistic that I was tracking, but it's something that we can track in the future.
All right.
But we have lots of services.
Very good. And I think that's it for questions as it stands right now. So keep on moving.
Okay, next topic is Crypto Bridge and security. Even though I've given warnings about the potential that Crypto Bridge may have been hacked. They haven't made an announcement, They're not communicating. I even offered for the Crypto Bridge team to come on to our webinar to explain what's the issues, what issues they're having with their wallets. Why is there such a heavy focus when the support team, they're talking about servicing members and their wallets and their either lost funds or delayed funds coming through. They're emphasizing, hey, we're focusing on security, which might imply that they might have had a hack. Even though it's the case, I often go through and send BTC or LPC to that exchange, and may even look to do some trades. And there's issues like in the past. Some of the things that I've noticed just from my interaction was several months back, even trading on another coin, that there was a double spend problem. Indicated that in the on a support ticket, and subsequently was fixed. I also had an issue mentioned earlier dealing with a BTC transaction where I was transferring BTC outside of Crypto Bridge, made the withdrawal, and the withdrawal address that I placed into the Crypto Bridge application and then submitted, and was subsequently, that transaction was registered going to the address that I specified. But yet when I did not receive the transaction, I put in a support ticket, and then the Crypto Bridge support team sent me back a ticket saying, hey, this transaction has already been processed. Here's the proof. So I went to that link showing the transaction supposedly taking place, and it was not the transaction that I specified in the Crypto Bridge application, and was also documented in the Crypto Bridge transaction itself showing that address. They subsequently refunded the money, refunded the BTC, but I was saying it appears that you might have been hacked while looking at that transaction, where it was 100 BTC total sent to an address and subsequently funneled out. And there were other members outside of our community that also had concerns. And this is one of the things that I constantly emphasize. I like decentralized exchanges, and I think decentralized exchanges are the future. But at the same time, there has to be some level of accountability. There has to be some level of support, where if members are having problems, they should be able to, those problems should be resolved efficiently, effectively, and there's communication between the exchange and the members that are on the exchange. Because we're looking at LPC, we're top volume for Crypto Bridge. I think we've helped Crypto Bridge more than they've helped us in this process. And I think right now they're probably top 115 exchange, moving in the top 100 depending on the day, moving in and out of the top 100 for a decentralized exchange. And that's in due in part to our volume, being the top volume on that exchange. We are heavily involved with them, not necessarily getting the support. And I was taken aback earlier this week after warning, hey, use that exchange at your own risk. We have 6 and not necessarily be silent. There was a member of LPC, which I'm very concerned about now, where they were trading on Crypto Bridge over these past 7 days, and they lost over 2,500 LPC. The Crypto Bridge exchange mentioned something along the lines of saying that it might have been stolen or your wallet might have been compromised, once placing the blame on the individual who owned the LPC. But I think it's a problem when they're shirking responsibility. I think and this is just my opinion, I think it's perhaps an issue that's happening at the level of BitShares, because CryptoBridge uses the BitShares application, and perhaps the BitShares application itself has been hacked, and the individuals on CryptoBridge can't necessarily address it or are unable to solve it. So they are not communicating at all. So I think in protecting the investors, I'm going to proactively reach out to BitShares with their team to say, come on to our channel, explain why we should stay on CryptoBridge, which once again, at a fundamental level, we like decentralized exchanges. As a matter of fact, we were listed on another decentralized exchange that I will emphasize and encourage us to begin to do things, begin to trade on as well. So we love decentralized exchanges, but we don't like the particular implementation of a decentralized exchange with CryptoBridge and how they're having issues with their wallets being compromised, and CryptoBridge support staff not necessarily communicating to individual investors or to entire communities like ourselves that we're responsible for a large share of the volume on that exchange, and they should have some level of accountability to us. So once again, I would encourage you, do not use CryptoBridge. Begin to use other exchanges. Right now, because Coin Exchange is listed on CoinMarketCap, use that exchange because it's going to count towards our market cap. And during this process of moving from one exchange to another exchange, as we move to a larger exchange, then Masternodes Online will recognize that larger exchange in CryptoBridge and will replace CryptoBridge as the reporting exchange with the largest volume. Because right now, all of our volume determined by Masternode Online and our ranking is determined by the volume of the largest exchange. And right now, the volume with the largest exchange is CryptoBridge. So that's all I have to say on that issue with CryptoBridge. I do not recommend CryptoBridge. So there was a way we can immediately delist and move to another exchange at a snap of a finger, I'd do it. But I would encourage you, begin to do trades on different platforms. The one in particular that I emphasize right now as a centralized exchange is Coin Exchange, because it's listed on CoinMarketCap and it's used for reporting, and a decentralized exchange. Right now, the one that decentralized exchange we just got listed on is the BlockNet or BlockDX, and I would encourage you all to begin to learn that application, but we'll talk more about there was somebody who impersonated me and was sending DMs or direct messages to investors saying there's going to be a coin swap, and if you don't want to lose your LPC, send your LPC here. Now, one of the members actually had my direct phone number, contacted me and said, Damon, is this you? Is this legitimate? And I immediately said, no, it is not me. It is not legitimate. So I had to write up a post, post it to the channel, and even some of the members of the dev team looked out for that particular address to see how much LPC had been sent. And I'm pleased to report that no LPC had been sent to that address by that imposter. I'm so happy to see that. I think we're becoming, our crypto intelligence as a community is increasing, and we're beginning to recognize a fake as a fake. So be cautious once again, because there are a lot of scams. There are a lot of different things how individuals attempt to socially engineer you to give up either your private keys or take your LPC or have you send your LPC. Don't fall for it. It's a trap. If you don't hear or see, if you don't read things and see it and hear it coming from either this channel, the Discord, some of the Twitter accounts that we have, or even preferably looking at by phone, calling the number on the line, calling the number on the web page, using the Signal app. And Signal is an encrypted text and voice communication. So it encrypts your voice, and encrypts voice communication, and encrypts text messages. The phone number that's on the website, you can call that number. Make sure that you have the Signal app downloaded first, or even Telegram as well. But Signal is the one that I prefer, and I actually have installed on the LPC lines. That's the phone number that's listed on the website. Download the Signal app, using either encrypted text or an encrypted phone call. Talk with me over the encrypted line. Say, Damon, is this legitimate? Is this something I saw it on a DM? I didn't see it anywhere else. Get multiple modes or multiple methods and means of communication and multiple ways of confirming. So this is one of the ways in which you can stay safe. Not only just looking at what's been written or what's been said, but also talking to other members within the community that you trust, where there's some level of trust that's been built. But at the same time, look for those official communication channels. And if you have a concern, call me directly through the line, through the encrypted channels, and we can go from there. I'll pause on security to see if there are any questions.
So there is a security related question, and it's essentially, how can we get coins back that are stolen on CryptoBridge? Is there any means by which to do that?
Sure. The main thing is keep a lot of pressure on the support team. Now, when I'll talk about the example that I went through. Even though on every exchange, I try to have some interaction on their Discord channel or even in their support line within their Discord channel to see what are the problems that they're having so that we can get in front of some of these things. This is something that we did not necessarily do in CryptoBridge, and I think I described it last week. I'll try to go into an exchange that we'd like to be on, to list on, to see if there are any problems, and then work through that process. I'll often go through and send some currency to exchanges to see if we can break it. It's more like going through a process of finding where there are gaps in an exchange in providing security. So one of the things that I would do, if you have an issue with your support ticket that you send to CryptoBridge, you can CC me, and I'll send out an email that you can CC. I think it's azanthics@gmail.com. CC me on any issues that you all have in your support ticket. Write down the CryptoBridge transaction. If you're sending a transaction to an address and CryptoBridge communicates to you saying, hey, this transaction has already been sent out, but it's been sent to a different address, copy that transaction ID, return it do a return, CC me on it as well, and then communicate back with CryptoBridge. There is an application within CryptoBridge that CryptoBridge uses called Freshdesk. I think it's cryptobridge.freshdesk.com, where they keep up with the support tickets and the communication channel, and they often delete the information after a ticket has been resolved. But if you perceive that there's been a hack on your account, or a hack in the wallet, or the address that you specified was not the same address as an example that I talked about, where they sent me so-called proof that the transaction had been sent, but it was sent to an address that was different from the CryptoBridge transaction account that's listed at the bottom of the withdrawal section. Anytime you make withdrawals or you make deposits, there's a record. And in that record, they would specify the address to which either there was a transaction incoming or a transaction outgoing. And then you compare that to the transaction ID if they said, hey, this has already been sent out. But report it. And then each and every week, we will spend some time until they get it right on bashing them. I think we have to keep pressure on them to the extent that there's a collective effort. And our collective effort now is to move away from the exchange if they're not addressing our issues. And I'll bring them up each and every week. So that's what I would encourage. CC me azanthics@gmail.com and that particular email is for the issues related to CryptoBridge and having not having issues either with the wallets or your funds being stolen and them saying, hey, it's your fault. No, it's not your fault. It's CryptoBridge. It's your fault. You should have a decent application. And we have an option at the end of the day to move. And that's the option that I'm having now, looking to have conversations with the CEO of BlockNet and the Block Exchange, the Block DX Exchange, to have them give us assurances up front that they will be able to protect the investors. At the end of the day, it's about the protection of the investors. If they're not able to provide those top level support, then let's move. I think it should be at some point where we go through some regulation ourselves, separate self-regulation, and begin to report those agencies if they are not catering to the needs of the investors. Protection of the investors, that's one of my primary goals. You should protect the investors who are coming in and putting in their hard-earned money, investing in this new space. But if you're not going to be honest, we always have the option of leaving. So that's the option that I'm presenting now. Let's begin to move to these different exchanges. And Block DX is one of those decentralized exchanges that I recommend at this point, a decentralized exchange, in addition to a centralized exchange that we have listed on CoinMarketCap. That's Coin Exchange.
Okay, let's keep moving.
Okay, Cryptopia progress. Right now, 10:36. We have about 24 minutes. I want to be able to wrap this up. Cryptopia progress. I know we put out an address for members to make some contributions. To this point, we don't have a lot of individuals or a lot of investors either on the corporate side or on the retail side making contributions. I know that I have a certain amount in which I invested myself in LPC. And as a note, the pre-mine that we had, we did not take any salaries, and I did not have any of that for myself. It was my own individual investment into the LPC project before the launch out. So now it's the case. We do need to raise funds to get on to Cryptopia, which is 12 BTC. And there are other top 50 exchanges, and I mentioned this last week, where they're only charging 3 BTC. It doesn't make sense to pay more to get on a lower volume exchange. Anyone logically thinking about that would say, no, it doesn't make any sense. But it's something that we put on our roadmap. It's something that we have to address. And I think at the same time, if we're going to list on that exchange, it should not only be team members making the contribution, given that we had a very small pre-mine for advertising, going to conferences, beginning to list on exchanges, but 12 BTC is a bit much. So that's one of the things. If we're going to make a contribution, let's make a commitment to contribute. But also, we are putting things in place now where we won't necessarily have any other issues getting on exchanges. So we're looking at other opportunities and getting ready to launch some, and we'll talk about some of those today as well, so that we'll address some of the issues of being able to get on these large exchanges. And you talk about Cryptopia being 12, there are other exchanges where the BTC value will blow your mind if you want to list on a Binance or you want to list on a Bittrex, which I think we need to be. That's where we need to be at the end of the day. And there's some things that we're pursuing in order to be able to list on those exchanges. And so I'll take a quick pause there to see if there are any questions related to Cryptopia progress. And it's still early. It's just August the 8th. So we still, by the end of this month, if we're able to make that exchange and be able to implement a few things, we easily list on Cryptopia and then keep it moving. And then we target the next top 50 exchange if we're not on a top 50 exchange by the end of this month.
Sure. There's a question here. What's the listing price for Cryptopia?
12 BTC.
12 BTC. There we go.
So that's right now 12 BTC, roughly 6 and some change, over $72,000. $72,000.
Okay.
That wipes out everything. We go back to start. That's why we need some member contributions. I know we listed earlier in the Cryptopia listing there was an address, and I know we have this whole paranoia about imposters and wanting to take funds from members, but this is a legitimate cause where we do have an address where you can begin to make some contributions to be able to list on that exchange. But like I mentioned earlier, there are other things that we're beginning to do now to obviate that cost, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay. One other question. Can we have a poll if we want to postpone Cryptopia towards other exchanges?
Sure. That's something I'll put out, and we can list it on the announcement, and perhaps just making a channel where you all are able to vote, and you're able to, yeah, you can do your voting on the announcements channel, because you can like certain aspects of a vote. You can either put 1, L for C for Cryptopia, O for other, and we just see the number of likes on that and take a poll. Sure, we can do that.
Yeah, we'll figure that out and roll it out with, shortly. It's a good
Great.
suggestion.
So the next exchange, and this is one of the issues now, we're pursuing the most cost-efficient methods by which we can get listed on exchanges. And one way we can get listed on exchanges is by community support and community participation in voting. And one exchange that has that a community member brought up, and I thought it was a great idea, is to have the community members vote to get listed on AIODX, or I don't know how you pronounce that just yet, because I haven't heard of a video announcement of it, but right now I'll say AIODX. Who knows if it's right or not? But at the end of the day, we initially listed, after going through the process, they said they were going to list 20 coins. They're going to launch the exchange in about 45, 46 days. And initially we were sub 40. We made the call out to the community responded, and now we have more votes than Bitcoin, we have more votes than Ethereum, we have more votes than Stellar, we have more votes than Dash. We are a top, I think, 3 or 4 project in terms of community involvement getting listed on that exchange. And I think the great thing about this particular exchange, AIODX, and I'm just going to say AIODX, on that exchange, is that for the first 300,000 members to sign up on that exchange, you have 0 trading fees. Right now on CryptoBridge, you pay a trading fee in order to do a transaction from BTC to LPC or LPC to BTC. To the degree that all of our members, right now we have almost 10,000 members on Discord channel, probably others who hadn't even joined the Discord channel, but yet participate and have LPC. If every member joins that particular exchange and then votes for LPC, that's a way in which you have 0 fees for 1 year in either acquiring LPC or finding some liquidity for LPC. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to get listed on the exchange. Right now we're number 2 or number 3 based upon the number of votes by the community. It's 5 minutes of your time. And once again, 0 trading fees. So that's the advantage of being able to list on that particular exchange, because it just takes a little bit of your time. No LPC involved, no BTC involved. So it's just a matter of you signing up and voting. So I would encourage that exchange.
We got a pronunciation suggestion from the community. I believe it's IODEX.
IODEX? Okay, done. IODEX. IODEX it is until otherwise I hear something that comes
until somebody else says something more convincing. That's what we're going with.
Man, that sounds good enough for me. IODEX. Now the next exchange, I know we talked, and that's one that we are actively looking to get listed on to participate in liquidity action or acquiring LPC at 0 trading fees. The next exchange now is something that we've been looking to solve related to our issues of social engineering, private keys getting stolen, and that is yourx.io. Once again, yourx.io is a one-click masternode exchange. It's somewhere where you can now sign up, you can now purchase your LPC from that exchange, and you can do one-click masternode, hands-free. You're done. Fees are lower than the other shared masternode services, and it's just one of the things where we're looking to protect, once again, our members in terms of the places in which they look for liquidity, or they're looking to store their LPC or set up a masternode, or not go through that process of having to set up their masternode manually. Because most masternode owners, you're tech savvy guys, you're smart, high speed, low drag. There are other individuals who are coming into the space. They can see the instructions for setting up a masternode, but it may be difficult to get a vulture account, launch a VPS, go through the configuration instructions, and then actually be able to launch through the debug console within the wallet. That's difficult to do for the average person. So if you were randomly sample anyone from the masses that you were targeting, who had the funds to acquire a masternode and then use that LPC to support the network and say, hey, just set up a masternode. It's quite difficult. But yet, if they're savvy enough to send funds to BTC to a particular exchange, acquire the LPC on that exchange, and then a button appears that says one-click masternode and click it, I think that's a much safer option than going even into our support channel and asking someone for help who may or may not be an imposter. So it lowers your risk for being able to acquire a masternode, own it, maintain it, have those funds sent to you for a small fee, cheaper than the fees for the other masternode services. So Eurex.io is another exchange that we're on for buying, selling, not only LPC, but also BTC and other currency as well. Okay, if there aren't any questions on Eurex.io, I'll quickly move into BlockNet and BlockDX. BlockNet is a project that's proposed to be the internet of blockchains, where you have blockchains that are able to communicate with each other and leverage any service, interact with any other currency, any other service, or build services that interact or incorporates LPC. I think this is the next generation project. I do believe BlockNet is in a good position, a great position. I think it's a top 150 project. I think we're almost in the 300s or sub 400s in terms of our listing on CoinMarketCap. But looking at BlockNet, I think they're 150, a project that's ranked 150 on CoinMarketCap. Right now, I think we're 422. But BlockNet is the internet of blockchains. I think it's something that competes as a platform against EOS, competes against Ethereum. And because it's the internet of blockchain, engaged in atomic swaps where you can swap one currency for the next, this, I believe, helps us in a way in which we can build applications on top of the BlockNet. I would encourage members, if you're able to program, if you have capabilities where you like to either launch your own project, build some DApp or decentralized application, integrate LPC, because right now, I think it would be great. But right now, what we're doing, we're building our platform on which LPC will sit on top, a decentralized application on which LPC will sit on top, in addition to the point of sale the point of sale application will sit on top of this decentralized blockchain that we're building, which is somewhat similar in concept to the BlockNet, where it is an internet of blockchains, but yet by being listed on BlockDX and on BlockNet, we now have that capability. So that's some work that we don't have to do in terms of our development team and building out that underlying infrastructure to support dApps, to support atomic swaps. Even though the platform that we were building has that capability, but we haven't built it just yet. It's already there. Let's leverage BlockNet as it currently exists. As we pilot it and we build our point of sale devices, the software application or the dApp on top of BlockNet, and if there's something that happens later on along the lines where we have to use BlockNet as a launch point in order to move to our own platform, I think is great to try out the application that currently exists. And that's what you see some cryptocurrency projects, what they'll do. Before they even launch their own blockchain, they'll launch on Ethereum. They'll do an ICO on Ethereum, and after a while, once they build their development team, get some traction, build their community, their technology, their economics around their coin, and build their community or tech economy or techco community, then they transition to their own projects. A great example of this was Tron. Tron was on Ethereum first. And it launched on Ethereum. It grew to be a top 10 project. It was a top 10 project close to the Ethereum platform. So you almost had a project launched on Ethereum almost as worth as much in terms of market cap as Ethereum itself. But then it moved out to its own blockchain and building out its own platform. So I think we can follow a similar path, considering that it's already built. BlockNet is already built for decentralized apps, atomic swaps with other currencies. And I think once we build our point of sale device and we're able to first accept LPC, we can easily begin to integrate other currencies as well. So you can use Bitcoin, you can use Litecoin, or you can use other cryptocurrencies within the point of sale device, with LPC being the underlying utility token for the being able to having another currency used on top of our point of sale device platform. So I would encourage you all at this point, begin to use BlockNet, download, understand what the protocol is, download the white paper. Let's see if I can share and just do a quick view of the website, and then we can go from there. I'm going to stop this sharing, a new share. I'm going to click this button here. I want to share this. There we go. And if you see my screen here, this is the BlockNet protocol. It is proposed as the Internet of Blockchains. Not to necessarily push this project really, really hard, but I think it is where we need to be in terms of having our technology on top of BlockNet first, starting out to see if it works out well for us. And if it doesn't, we'll iterate and continue to build out on our platform, the exchange platform, where you would have LPC being used as one of the currencies within the point of sale devices. Now, looking at this, the BlockNet protocol, understanding everything that you can do within the protocol, just download the white paper, take it a read, but I think it's great that you can do cross-chain atomic swaps. So now Bitcoin be swapped for Ethereum, Dash can be swapped for Bitcoin. And now that we're on the platform already, Bitcoin can be swapped for Dash. It can be swapped for Zcash. It can be swapped for Ethereum. Now that's when our ATM machines, envision the ATM machine where you're not only able to go from cryptocurrency to fiat currency, either going to the dollar or going to the yen or going to any other fiat currency. It's the case that you can go from the ATM machine, providing the opportunity where you can use it to go from currency to currency, cryptocurrency to cryptocurrency. This may be for people who, in emerging economies or in, say, within a third world country, they only have access to a mobile phone. Because they only have access to a mobile phone, they don't have access to a desktop and may not necessarily be able to trade on an exchange, either a centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange. But they can walk to their local ATM machine and do that exchange through the ATM. And they can swap any cryptocurrency to any other cryptocurrency, or swap from LPC or any cryptocurrency into fiat, any fiat of choice. So now we built a relationship with BlockNet, looking to have the CEO on one of our calls to really explain the true power of being able to use the BlockNet protocol. But right now, we can use it to build decentralized applications and trade on the BlockDX, which is a decentralized exchange where the wallet, unlike CryptoBridge, where the wallet is in the cloud, even though you have an option of downloading a local wallet, in this case, on the BlockDX, the wallet actually sits on your own computer. So now it's just like the LPC wallet. You just have to make some configurations in the config settings so that this application, BlockDX, can communicate directly with your wallet. And you have a BTC wallet and an LPC wallet, and you can trade between the two and not necessarily have to worry about your funds being compromised in a decentralized wallet. But now your wallet is actually on your desktop already, or your mobile device, to the degree that they have, you're able to make some trades on your mobile device as well. But I think this is absolutely what we need. Theoretically, it makes sense. Perhaps once we begin to work through some of the practical implementations of it, initially looking at the website and doing some downloads of the application itself, there's some configuration that takes that would be needed. And we'll look to put out some videos so that you can configure your either desktop or your mobile app to make trades on the BlockDX. So let me take a quick pause there to see if there are any questions on that particular exchange. Let's do this here.
Somebody asks, oh, sorry, hold on. I don't know what happened to my video there. Somebody asks, can we already use the BlockNet exchange? It sounds better than CryptoBridge.
Yes, but it would take takes a little configuration. So it looks like it's about 30 minutes to an hour in terms of downloading, say, your Bitcoin wallet, downloading your LPC, where right now you already have your LPC wallet in place, or any other currency that's already on that platform. I think there are about 80 currencies on that platform now, but you'd have to download the respective wallets, make configurations into your config files on each of those wallets on your desktop, and then have the app, the DX app, interact with those wallets on your desktop. So it takes a little bit of configuration, but I think in the long term, they should be able to improve that, where there's some script that does the installation and makes the configuration in each of your wallets. Right now, they've already improved what they originally did, because everything you had to do when the application first came out was through the command line. So they moved from the command line. They have a graphic, a GUI whereby you can interact and make trades. So I think it's great now for not only the decentralized exchange portion, but also the Internet of Blockchains, BlockNet app itself, where you could, or platform itself, where you could build these decentralized apps. I would encourage everyone here, start that process. Start that process of learning about the BlockNet. Even if there are members right now who are interested in starting a project themselves that integrates LPC, and we have a support project now in Logiscoin, and actually being able to help support us moving our operations forward in, say, distributing the ATMs or distributing the point of sale devices as well. And this actually will be on the BlockNet itself also. And that leads us into partner opportunities. But before we get into that, I'll pause to see if there are any questions.
No questions, but there is a suggestion that we make a video where we kind of show the setup for the BlockNet thing, and I think that's a great idea.
And that's what I'm doing now, in configuring my system, make sure it works. You're able to do a trade, transfer onto your wallet into that exchange, and then to trade from BTC to LPC or any other currency. I may do just LightPay coin and Litecoin or Ethereum to see how it works, and then post that video myself. Or if there are other high-speed, low-drag individuals within the community who wants to take a stab at it, because I may do it one way and another person may do it another way, and would be just as effective. So we're going to move down that path. Yes.
Sounds good.
So with partner opportunities, I know we've talked at times of being able to collect funds and be able to list on different exchanges, and we thought about a variety of different things of making some edits to the code to take from the community what we would pay to masternode owners or what we would pay to the wallet owners, but we didn't think that would be something that would go well over in the community, and being able to fund future projects like getting onto Cryptopia, being able to get onto Binance, be able to get onto Bittrex. And moving forward, it's only going to get more and more expensive. So to help us in a variety of different ways, not only in the aspects of being able to fund operations and help to build out the team, because this is the phase where we are. We're experiencing very fast growth. At the same time, we do need to begin to build out our infrastructure, not only just in the software side, because that's where most of our focus is for this first phase, working with the UCF students to build out the next generation of software wallets, and also the point of sale devices and the software for the ATM. And those are the task orders that we're issuing out for this semester, just working on the software components. But now we need to begin to also think about the hardware components, building out the hardware components, and particularly for the ATMs and the distribution of those devices, not only within the United States, but across the world. So you're looking at more of a supply chain logistics issue that we have to begin to address now. So we didn't think we were going to be as far along where we were in terms of masternodes. We thought by December, if we have 1,000 masternodes, great. Thinking of having a price point in between $20, $30 by December-ish. But that was just some back office internal conversation that we were having. But we thought 1,000 masternodes by then. But it's the case, our network is secure. We have a lot of masternodes. We have a lot of confirmation nodes. We're moving faster than what we projected. We've added a lot more exchanges. And it's the case, getting into conferences, being able to use a variety of marketing services. We need more partners. We need more opportunities, if they're side opportunities or if they're projects that support us. This is something that we strongly encourage now because we need to grow. As a consequence, the Logis Coin project is going to help with that hardware side. I know some of you have been mentioning earlier, there's this other coin that we were talking about mentioning, and I said, there's nothing final about it at this point. But I say, once you'll hear it from me. So Logis Coin is something that is a support project in terms of the logistics and distribution of more of our hardware and helping out with the operations of LPC. So you'll be hearing more about it, and I want to be able to dedicate a full call to talk about the team, the building out of the team, which we look to have members from LPC and from the local community, because I know we have a lot of developers and a lot of people with various talents that we have in our community. And we've built a level of trust with each other that I think we can begin to do projects that help support LPC in terms of distributing hardware, distributing the point of sale devices, distributing the ATMs, not only here in the United States, but across the world. I would like to have vertical integration, if we can have that, from the software, developing the hardware, the distribution components. Everyone, if you're a member of the community, at some point, we're going to need more help than just the core team. Those 6-7 individuals on the website, I don't think we're going to be able to truly fulfill our promise unless we have a lot of partners. That's why we do have UCFS, who's already in place with us. That's why we do have another partner that we're mentioning now with Lumina Datamatics, who's helping us along the way and is already in a position to help us with members and building dApps on BlockNet. So let me take a quick pause to see if there are any questions about the Logis Coin support project for the manufacturing and distribution of the ATM machines and the point of sale devices once we do the research and development, and then we move through the commercialization phase. Just let me take a quick pause there. It is a support project.
Got a couple questions. One was just the phrase Lotus Coin ? Which I think indicates that somebody might have been unfamiliar with what that is. And
Look, Logis is more around the lines of logistics.
Oh, so Logis. Okay, all right. I think we got maybe somebody misheard. Logis, you said. Got it.
Yes. So, and we'll send out more information. We'll start the Discord channel. We'll start having individuals who are interested in participating, and then we'll actually show out the website either later on this week or the beginning of next week and do a full walkthrough. And we'll dedicate, after we go through the stats on next week's call, and then we'll actually walk through the process for this next phase support project in building out the infrastructure.
Okay, so to address terminology confusion, that's Logis with a G, not Lotus with a T, like the flower.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, and then other question is, once you have devices and points of sale devices, will normal people be able to go in the world and promote it to commercial entities all around the world?
Sure, and that's a part of the Logis project. In addition, because I would love for everyone everyone who's a part of our community now, because you believed enough to make the initial investment to help support the network, the blockchain network, and at the same time be involved in the community, the technology, the economics, and the community. I think you should have a part in being able to say, okay, I have 5% of all of the point of sale devices that are currently being created, and should be able to distribute that to people within my country or people within my region. If there are people there, I think there are lots of companies that will need to be developed. If you look at Consensus or other organizations, we were having a talk with one of the top law firms in the United States, and they were telling us about all of the companies with whom they're working. And it's the case, there's one company that has hundreds of blockchain-based organizations that's supporting them. So it's one organization, but yet there are another 100 other blockchain-based companies that fall under that portfolio. And I think there needs to be some organization around us, because this is a huge project. So we need a lot of help. We need the community. If you have an idea to help support LPC, not only in the software development side, which is just where we are right now, but also in the hardware, the distribution, the manufacturing, the sales, the marketing companies around cryptocurrency. There's some that are developing, and we have some of those partners right now, but we need more focus on our project, our product, our team, our community. So we're totally open, but LogisCoin is one of the first ones that we're pushing out, and we're looking to recruit from our team first, because you were here first in helping us to build our market cap. We're almost at $10 million right now, and I think that's phenomenal in less than 60 days. In less than 90 days, 3 months. Who knows where we're going to be at the end of 3 months? But I think it's phenomenal in terms of what we've done. I'll see if we have another question before we move on. We're a little over, but I do want to talk about the partner opportunity with Lumina.
Yeah, so let's kind of get through these quick, because we're pushing into hour 2. So one question or comment, I guess it's a question, is, so Logis support project will boost LPC coins or leach some of its market cap? And then in parentheses, they said no FUD.
Oh yeah, don't want to create FUD. But at the same time, here's one of the things that we thought about doing in terms of originally helping to support LPC in its movement. You can choose as an investor not to make an investment in the hardware, logistics, and the distribution of the point of sale devices and the ATM machines. That's totally fine. There is potentially, if someone say, okay, I'm going to take all of my LPC, I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to put it in LogisCoin. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's a support project. When you begin to see members who participate, they may have a little bit more commitment to the LogisCoin than they would to LPC. But yet at the end of the day, they're mutually supportive of the LPC currency itself in being able to have currency. And at some point, it makes sense as well looking at LogisCoin as one of those currencies as well on the platform for point of sales or for ATMs. But there's a chance, and not to say it's not a chance, there is a chance that there may be some members who come over and split over into the other Logis community, but we consider you all as a part of the LPC family, because we want to be vertically integrated in the development of doing the research, doing the development of the software, moving on to the research, development, and commercialization of the hardware. Then there's the sales and the distribution of the point of sale devices, ATM machine. There needs to be infrastructure around all of those components for us to be successful. And right now we need to recruit more hardware engineers. We need to recruit more folks on the marketing side. But yes, there is a chance that our market cap may take a hit. But for me, considering that we are the initial team, we have the concept of developing the currency and developing the next generation of wallets, point of sale device, contactless ATMs. But this project is a smaller project to support the operations and the development and distribution of those devices. So it's like investing in one of the companies within General Electric. So, or when you look at it, Berkshire Hathaway, which I'd love to be in a position where LPC is somewhat oriented like that. You see Home Depot, you see the furniture stores, all of these companies help to support and are a part of the Berkshire Hathaway family. So, and that's one of the things I'd like for you to take into consideration. Even though you may invest in Home Depot stock, or you may invest in Nebraska Furniture Store, there may be investors who still own a part of Berkshire Hathaway and go to those meetings. And I hope that analogy makes sense. But yet we would need to have some type of infrastructure and for us to really understand the organization of how these blockchain-based companies and support networks would come into play. But yes, it is a valid question, but I don't think at the end of the day, a person who owns Berkshire Hathaway is going to sell all their Berkshire Hathaway stock to buy Home Depot, if that makes sense.
The question asker thanked you for your honest answer. Then let's see, we got another one. Will investors be able to own these ATMs directly and outright?
I think, and we haven't gotten all into the details, but because you were one of the first investors within LPC, I think you should have that right. It's the case. What we're looking at in terms of the licensing, the sale and the distributions of the point of sale devices and ATM machines, it may be the case that you own an ATM machine and you may go to your local courthouse and have some relationship with the courthouse to say, okay, I'd like to put this ATM machine and pay a fee to the courthouse, unless the courthouse basically says, oh, we want to own it because it's a revenue source for us in addition to individuals being able to pay their taxes. So I do think investors should have a right or a highly discounted price for owning the ATM machines. But I think because you own the LPC and you got in early and believed in the idea and being able to build it out, and then you should have, for instance, a right to have a very low cost access to the POSs and the ATMs. It only makes sense. It's like say for instance, being an employee in Toyota, you should be able to, you buy cars at a discount, families and friends discount. So I'm thinking the discount should be somewhere along the lines of 40 to 50% of what the cost or at cost for us manufacturing if you're an investor. But this is something that we definitely would have to work out. And I'm open to suggestions from the community and being able to do that, because we have to begin to think more long-term now and how we begin to develop and pushing down the path. And I'm having to make adjustments now to the task orders being pushed out because the timeline is a bit more aggressive, and I'm thinking more than just the next year and a half, because it's a multi-year project. But yes, we will have a discount of sorts, whether it's 50%, whether it's at cost in terms of the creation of the devices and then the distribution of the devices. Yes, but we'd have to work on what that looks like, because we don't want to build a product and then actually be in the negative in terms of our gross margins and our EBITDA at the end of the day. So we want to be a profitable business. We want to build those ATM machines and the point of sale devices at a profit, work with organizations that will want to use our devices and actually bring value back ultimately to you at the end of the day as the investor. I hope that makes sense.
Okay. And then we have another question that I think transitions into your last point about partner opportunities pretty well, which is, how do you ensure due diligence is carried out on those partners to ensure confidence by investors?
Sure. And one, we definitely look internally to the team first. So looking at the development team that we have within LPC, also the members of our community. It's one thing to be an investor. It's one thing to actually help to secure the network, but can we trust you at the end of the day? Not to say that I'm the ultimate adjudicator to say, yes, this person should be trusted and not should be trusted. It's one of the things that we have to build a relationship, and that's what trust is built upon. So hopefully we don't, and it may or may not happen, fingers crossed, where someone may attempt to leverage our trust in such a way where they breach some of the unwritten rules about what you should and should not do in being able to sell devices, being able to market, being able to sell to different businesses, and even have support businesses around that. Not saying that we're going to be squeaky clean and polished, but it's one of the things that when we have challenges, for me, anytime we have a problem, I want to communicate, because I think communicating and being honest and upfront in terms of what's happening, like say for instance, being able to get on these large, just say a medium-sized Cryptopia exchange at 12 BTC versus another top 50 exchange at 3 BTC, and having the investors here make that investment when logically it doesn't make sense, when there's a larger exchange and you can pay a lower cost. But at the same time, we did write it on paper. We did make a commitment, but we can make adjustments to that. And anytime that there might be issues along the lines of members being socially engineered, say coming over and participating in a project that turned out to be a scam, and those members didn't necessarily know that that was the case, but yet they got exploited and members went over as a consequence. I want to be able, we've already experienced some drama. We've already experienced some turmoil, and I think we've done a decent job in talking about that on the calls. And I want to be just as transparent as things move forward. Ultimately, I'm not going to be on every single call. I think as these projects kick off, they will have their own calls happening at different times, and we'll record them and place them in a location where you can access and find out what's happening with the different projects as we move forward. But I think everyone would agree this is a very ambitious project. I think most people on the call, or most people who are listening here, would say that it's going to take a much larger team, a much larger set of partnerships, and even some different businesses, or if you were to think about it in a corporate sense, subsidiaries, to operate on our objectives of being able to provide very user-friendly point-of-sale devices, very user-friendly wallets, very user-friendly ATM machines, and being able to penetrate the market and compete against the Bitcoins of the world in being able to provide point-of-sale devices. I hope that makes sense.
Good deal.
Partner opportunities. This is the last one, and hopefully it won't take too much longer. Right now, one of our partners, and this is one of our corporate entities that they've made an investment in LPC. They actually have several masternodes in the community. They're in a position now where they want to build decentralized applications on the blocknet that actually involves a variety of different talents and skill sets. There are projects that we're kicking off with not only UCF, but there are a few other universities that we're looking to bring on board as well to do projects related to GRE preparation, integrating our artificially intelligent, Lumina's artificially intelligent testing system within the blocknet as a decentralized app. Having students across the United States begin to participate as well, because this is within Lumina Datamatics. And to give background around Lumina Datamatics made the investment in my last company, Lumina Datamatics and Assessment Analytics, to bring artificial intelligence technology within the educational realm, using AI to create questions, to administer questions, to analyze questions, and to provide recommendations for learning. This is almost like the AI engine of Newton. It's a new AI technology within the education space where educational content is delivered via AI to students. But what Smart Test technology does, it's the same thing in terms of artificial intelligence administering content, but it's more at the question level. So with Lumina Datamatics, they made that investment in Lumina Datamatics Assessment Analytics, the joint venture in which I'm a co-founder. And now they've taken an interest into LPC, and they want to create content, more video content, augmented reality, and virtual reality. And they want to solicit members from the community here who have talent or who have skills to help in AR and VR based work, or even within the publishing space in general, because it is a content technology company. Just going back, when you think about the internet, most of the publishing companies came in and were disrupted by the internet. As a consequence, they had to change focus, and became content technology companies. So that Lumina Datamatics, and I think Patrick, he could probably give a better explanation about Lumina than I can, but it's the case we would like to bring members of the community who would like to work on projects, get paid in LPC to participate. So that's one way in which our partners are now coming into our community to ask members would they like to do work to help support their work, the partners' work, and actually get paid for it in LPC. So I'll pause right there to see if Patrick would like to add anything or answer any questions that might come from the community.
Yeah, I think I think that is a really exciting opportunity to look to the LPC community to source the kind of unique talents that folks have, right? And for those folks, for those members of the LPC community, to be compensated for their work, right? I mean, it's a model that's it's like essentially crowdsourcing the best talent for rich media and educational apps and things like that. I think it's a really exciting partnership. I think the sort of corporate partner is going to benefit from sort of a wider reach, and like I know that the community is a bunch of talented and super smart folks, and I think folks will benefit. The folks in the community will benefit because they'll be able to sort of monetize those skills in a way that's really exciting. So that's all I have to say about it for now.
Yes, and ultimately those dApps or decentralized applications, once again, built on blockchain, using the talent within the LPC community, we're going to place it on BlockNet and actually begin to do a lot more projects than just the AR, VR, and the AI work with assessments. So this is just the beginning of just some of the partner opportunities of the corporate entities that we have involved with us already, who've been with us from the beginning, who have made investments. No, they're not chatting on Discord, having conversations, but they watch from afar. They watch the videos. They're watching what we're doing. We're watching the progress that we've made. And they say, hey, can we leverage some of the talent that you have within the community? And considering that, once again, this is a sophisticated community of developers, investors, people who have skill sets that may not necessarily be manifested or they even tell us about on the channel. We know that we may have a lot of marketing folks that are in place. We may have people who have, say, for instance, written articles or interested in publishing, perhaps being added to the application within Lumina Datamatics called Expert Source Pro, which we're transitioning into blockchain, adding in LPC. That's for payment to contractors within the network as well. That's another opportunity for you to be involved, even though you may not have expressed your skill set. We want to know what other skills that you have that you can help us begin to move our partners forward in their path to building out blockchain-based applications. Because, like I said, I think this is the next big wave in technology, considering what happened with the internet initially in taking publishing companies, moving more paper content to now digital content, becoming in content technologies, and then the mobile wave that pushed through, moving on mobile applications onto the internet, and now AI coming into play and blockchain happening at the same time. There's another disruption that's happening, and these partners that we begin to have in place, they want to take advantage of us having that first mover advantage and actually solicit members who are already in the space, who have expertise, who can help out. So
Yep.
We're at 11:22, almost.
Yeah, and I think I think that's going to be like a webinar in and of itself. I mean,
Yes. After the next one, I think in the next couple of weeks, we would have Gordon Laws, the vice president of Lumina Datamatics, come and give a conversation of the concepts of the different projects and how you can get involved. So definitely, folks, thank you for your time. I won't pause it anymore and ask for questions, but if you have any more questions, please send them to me in a Discord.
Damon, I got one more. I got one more from the community, which is why ask. This is kind of related to something that we spoke about earlier. But let's see if we can kind of handle it quickly. Why ask for donations for Cryptopia when there was 100,000 of LPC pre-mined already?
So looking at and there was 1/3 of that went in some of the sales to individuals before we began to list on exchanges. There was a larger percentage that went as well to pay on the exchanges that we've gotten on so far, paying partners who come into play. There were different contractors who came in. For instance, also when we went to the Blockchain World Conference, it was the case that we had to pay, it was over a BTC to be able to be a gold sponsor in the event as well. We had price fluctuations and we had some dips as well. And we paid during and I think this was kind of unfortunate, during the dips where we were almost at $1.50 per LPC, we paid substantial amounts to get onto exchanges to provide for more liquidity opportunity. So it was the case. We didn't use pre-mine just to pay members of the team. It was all being able to get on exchanges, being able to pay marketers, and having those marketers begin to push LPC, having members of the community. I know members of the community, they were involved in different bounty programs. And that, considering, I think if we had to do it all over again, if I had to do it all over again, I'd say we take somewhere along the lines of 5% instead of that 0.43% of the pre-mine. But it's the case that would have been able to pay for the salaries, pay for those larger exchanges to get on. But we didn't do that because we knew that there would be some level of accountability and transparency that we would need to be able to constantly provide. And this is something now where we're doing that. So let me know if there are any other questions that you have. So
great.
Valid points.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Damon. We'll see you next week. More exciting stuff going on, I'm sure. See you, everybody.
Thanks again.